on the shutdown. Don't know what's happening. No one knows. But the mood as the week closes is dark. It's still not clear if the Senate's going to stay in over the weekend or not. Last night, the president and the vice president both took questions around their meeting with foreign leaders. And J.D. Vance was tart and sharp. 103, please.
And the last thing that I'll say is the American people are unfortunately about to start suffering some very real consequences because of the shutdown. In the past, when you had a government shutdown, you would have, under the Obama administration, they would lean into all of the problems it was going to cause for the American people at the beginning of the shutdown. The president has told us to keep as much going as humanly possible. But after 30 days of this thing, 40 days of this thing, you're going to start seeing very real travel delays. That's because the Democrat government shut down. You're going to start seeing SNAP benefits run out. That's because the Democrat government shut down. They should stop this charade and open up the government. That's what we want them to do. We've been asking them to do it for 40 days. It's time.
And
Dan, where do you think we go now?
I think the fact that there are so many conversations and I do think this is like the beginning of the end type of scenario where the first step is people start talking. There'll be some fits and starts here, but I think what happened on Tuesday kind of moves the GOP a little bit. I think Democrats know, like, you're not to be greedy here a little bit, meaning like this could swing. If it gets too ugly, they will take some blame. They're riding high right now. I think they're trying to figure out what the best deal is for them to declare victory. But I do think the kind of conversation starting means like the train starting to leave the station towards an end.
Sean, do you agree with that?
I think if the train might be leaving the station, but it's sort of like if you've ever pulled out of like New Haven where they're changing from whatever coal to like, it's going to be that clink, 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 clink. It's not coming out of the station roaring. This is going to be, I mean, I think Dan's phrase fits and starts is probably correct. I do believe that, as you saw, they took down 4% of air traffic at those 40 major airports. Then it goes to 6, then it goes to 10. As this becomes much more real for the American people, and frankly, unfortunately, once lawmakers themselves have to deal with this problem, that will escalate it. But I still think we're ways off. They're not, they might be trying to find something, but these existential issues that we keep talking about, like you saw the contours of a deal talked about and immediately crumbled before it even got close to coming out of the gate. And so I just, no one's talking about anything real. It's like they're talking about a meeting that they're talking about. So I don't see anything in the contours of what's being discussed as anything more than was being discussed 37 days ago. So I think the conversations will heat up. I just don't think they're going to yield anything soon.
I'm more bearish than I've been since it started. Despite Thanksgiving and travel, I wrote my newsletter this morning. All the dynamics are working against the deal, and with the exception of these bipartisan talks. But with all due respect to Senators Kim and Blunt Rochester, they're not John McCain. They're not Barack Obama. These gangs work when there's people of stature there who can go over the head of the president. In some sense, they just can't. So I'm very bearish.
But beyond that, Mark, there's nobody in there that represents the movement, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the problem solvers caucus is not going to carry the day anywhere.
Yeah.
So until it's not even just the McCains, it's somebody that actually the MAGA world would look at and say, they're a legitimate.
That's a good deal.
So do you guys think that Trump then the next 2 weeks wants to focus, just keep squeezing harder and harder and try to turn up the volume of pain?
I don't think it's crazy for the White House to think, as they do, that the most likely outcome is a Democratic cave.
Hold on a second. But so this is why I'm asking the question. Poll after poll shows they're being blamed.
Not by a number so much that scares them. Right.
Well, okay. So if you're going to ratchet pain up, that works in the Obama administration when you're up 10 points on the issue of who's to blame. What's fascinating is they're going to attempt to take it to 11, and yet the public is blaming them.
Well, you know what's funny about the public?
But Mark, you're shaking your head. Show me one poll that doesn't show the best they have is they're down 3 or 4.
Yeah, but it's 3 or 4 is not going to cause them to abandon their position.
But then go inside those numbers.
But yes, okay. So that's Dan. That's the answer. Go inside those numbers.
Tuesday.
Right? hold on. Go inside the numbers. What do they say? They say Republicans and MAGA supporters believe the president and Republicans are doing everything right. So that's that. Democrats believe that what Democrats are doing, and everyone on the far left, so what they're doing. And then in the middle, yes, the folks in the middle are tilting towards the Democratic position right now. But I think it's not that big of a disparity. And at the end of the day, each side is saying my base wants me to fight harder.
Right. Here's the dirty little secret, right? The Democrats are divided. They're united that they'd like to be united, but they're divided about what they're willing to accept to get out of this. The problem, well, no, and I don't think ish. I mean, you've got 3 who would vote to open the government right now.
Well, no, but I mean, the only thing I think they're divided on now is how far to press on undoing the cuts and the fire.
But that's the whole thing.
Right. I mean, but that can be patched over, I think.
Maybe. But the point is, here's why the president it would be dangerous for him to start backing down. Because right now, Republicans are all united. There's one Republican position: open up the government.
Right.
One Republican. Yeah. The minute he starts to be in a negotiation, then some Republicans say, no, don't drop off our position. We've got the stronger position. And some would say, oh, good idea. Let's end the shutdown. They can't open the door to having different voices on the side.
But see, I don't think the issue is whether they're open. I think there's not any more conversation about a vote of tying them. Now the issue is, what are you willing to guarantee after we reopen it? And the House Republicans will not guarantee a vote on the ACA.
Correct.
But so I'm
Trump.
reading this a little different, by the way, which is, at least from some of the intel that I got, which is Democrats have gone from a vote to they want a guarantee of a certain magnitude of extending the benefits. So the vote is one thing, but at least some Democrats are saying we want a guarantee
Some are saying stuff. It's Mike Johnson saying, I'll bring it to the floor. They know it'll pass if it comes to the floor, and Johnson knows it. And they're only going to be 40% of the R's that vote for it.
I don't.
And that's the problem.
I will tell you this. If it was brought straight up, you might peel off. I'm not entirely sure of that, but also, you know, as well as I do, they're not going to bring it up in a form that's palatable. They'll bring it up in,
Correct.
So
it also, of course, depends. It depends on what the it is, you know. But that's the other reason they don't want to open up the conversation to this discussion, because they don't want to have an intra-party debate about healthcare. They just don't, because the moderates have one point of view and it's too complicated.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.